I don't remember the last time I've been live. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? It has been a hot minute. Put that over there. Look at that. We got the stuff. We got the things. We doing the things. I think. Welcome to. Okay, that's easy. That's easy. I think it worked. I don't remember. It's been a while. It's been a while. We about find out, little Korg. We about find out, little Korg. It worked! Look at that. It's been a while since I've done a live stream. Took me a minute to figure out how to set everything up. What's going on, dudes? What's poppin'? Happy, what is it, Monday? Happy Monday. Anyone do anything exciting? Hot like Fender Fireball. See, that's what I'm talking about. Roberto, what up? Tran, what's going on, dude? Nathan. Maybe I should look at this chat. So, hang on, let me like fix this screen. Boom, there we go. I have to like know where to eat like good to put the camera either, so it's just kind of chilling up there. Oh my God, it's Media Live. It's been a while, right? It's been a while. I messed up on editing and shoot. Well, no, I didn't mess up on editing. I messed up with one of my SD cards, so there's no video today. So I figured we'd do a live stream instead. It's been a while since we've done a live stream. When will the EG33 be on the BBR dyno? I have no idea. I'm not in a huge rush. The car works, and that's like the biggest thing for me. I'm gonna enjoy it for a little while. Cat or dog? Dog. This a dog. This a dog. This is Mochi. She chilling on my lap. She wanted to uppies. She thinks she a lap dog. I mean, she kind of a lap dog. She's small enough to be a lap dog. Loving the daily uploads. Appreciate it, Corey. Like I said, sorry, no upload tonight. I kind of messed up with my SD cards. I've been working on this customer's 23 WRX GT out in the garage, and it's been, we're doing, like, everything is going on with that thing, dude. It's wild. What's up, Bangers Mash? How you doing, man? How's it, bro? Antonio, it's popping, dude. I'm just out here building the EJs today. Nice. We just got in the cylinder heads for the 07 STI, so huge shout out to Rally Sport for getting those over. I think it'll be a good solid build. We're only shooting for like 400, for like 30 wheels, somewhere in that range. Just want it to be like a fun little car. You know what I mean? Probably go rotate it at some point, but not worried about that right now. What's up, man? My 04 WRX got totaled this week. I'm sorry, Noah. Is the insurance at least taking care of you? And are you all right at least? Like, that's a big thing. I mean, cars are replaceable. I mean, limbs are replaceable with like bionic arms and limbs, but no one wants that. Hopefully you're all right. Hopefully injured's taking care of you, dude. When do you plan to get the EG33 dynoed again? Not really sure. In like the future, the near future. For now, I want to enjoy the car how it is. Like, it's at 37 PS. It's a hoot. We're estimating the car's probably around, if I had to estimate, I'd say between 850 and 880 wheel. There's a couple of calculators that I used online where you can use like fuel pressure, fuel injector, or injector duty cycle, things like that, and a whole bunch of other factors to kind of guesstimate. So I'm kind of guesstimating it's in like that 850 to like 880 wheel range. We're going to end up turning it up when it goes back on the dyno, but before it goes back on the dyno, I want to add EGT sensors to each cylinder, coolant pressure sensor, an EMAP sensor, and some other stuff. Just so that way we can more accurately kind of dial things in, because we're still on MLS head gaskets also, which is not, there's not a lot of options out there. So I was talking to Jeremy. I'm going to have a second set of heads and block and things like that, taken to the next level of kind of where we want to go in the future with the EG, because I want to continue like developing it and see how far I can push it. So it'll be happening. How's the 300 wheel STI? It's good. It's chilling at the shop right now. I got in the new serpentine belt and the new IAT sensor pigtail for it yesterday. So, I mean, it'll take me 10 minutes. I got to swap the plugs on it too, because on the drive back up when it took out the IAT sensor, dude, it was driving at like 11 to 12 AFR on E85, and it probably just destroyed those spark plugs. So I got new plugs at the shop, so we'll swap out the plugs, swap out the belt. I'm just trying to get through this 23 WRX stuff that I have out in the garage before I kind of focus on anything like that. When it comes to customer cars, I try to put their cars ahead of like my own project stuff or things that I got going on. So I should be finishing up with it tonight or tomorrow morning. All I got left is the TDMI big brake kit for the front, and what else do I have? Third brake light, and I think like one other STI wing to put on it, and that's it. How's it feel to have a dyno session with Blue and only have... Dude, I mean, it was a huge win. Absolutely huge win to only have that serpentine belt go. I had a feeling the belt was going to go. We have it could be the pulley, the crank pulley, the old fluid damper, because that fluid damper that I have on there is from when the car overheated and destroyed the crank and everything like that. And it's a little warped, so I think I'm going to order a new fluid damper tonight to swap on the car also, to keep things a little more in line, because I think because it's a little warped from the amount of heat that it saw, it's causing the belt to walk forward and snap. So I probably will order that tonight. Dang 800 to the wheels. Yeah, like 850 to 880 range. I mean, it's without having like a proper reading dyno, it's kind of up in the air right now. But that's kind of where I'm thinking it's landing. Is doing head gasket job on an 06 STI worth the parts and labor, or go with a new long block? Just swap the head gasket, man. You can get head gaskets for like $100. Have the heads machined for $200. Put it all back together. You're good to go. Totally worth it. You don't need to buy a new long block just because you need head gaskets. Christopher, is the Evo back yet? Is the Evo done? I need to know. I gotta know if you got the Evo back yet, dude. You saw the GTA 6 trailer. I've seen it. I don't really have time to play games anymore, unfortunately. I played Grand Theft Auto a long time ago, but I've seen the trailer for the new one. It looks really good. Let me know when you drag it. I'll support. For sure, dude. We're going to be going out to the drag strip with Josh this season in the STI, so we'll see how it does out there. Get a new fluid damper, but you also might be able to buy emery cloth I'm like, this, for some reason, this chat box over here, can I, like, make this bigger on this side? I can. Wow. You may also be able to use emery cloth to pulleys to take out the hidden burrs on rough spots. I can try that. I think I'm just going to buy a new one, though. Put a new one on there. The reason it snapped is it was walking itself forward, so it was, like that a little bit. I'm trying to, like, do this in line. It was like that. So, it started walking itself forward. It's whatever. Got the Evo on the dyno and is having fuel issues. Well, you know, at least it's running. That thing's been down for so long, dude. It's been down for so long. But, I mean, if fuel issues are all you're running into, that's hopefully easy fixes. You see Peter Griffin in Fortnite? I don't play Fortnite. I've never once played Fortnite. Nice hoodie man. Wearing the same one currently. That's what's up. That's what's up right there. What's going on with this box? I haven't done this in quite a while. I forgot that one exists. Not relevant much, but I finally found someone willing to do an alignment. 325 and some upset text later. It's roadworthy again. $325 for an alignment is absurd. That's wild, but I mean, at least they were able to do it. I remember you were having issues trying to find someone to do it. Anyone thoughts on buying a used fluid damper? If it's been off of like a totally fine running engine, I wouldn't see anything wrong with buying it. I've sold some of my old used fluid dampers. I wouldn't sell the one that's off of the 6-cylinder just because it is warped. But if it's not warped or anything like that, you're totally fine to buy secondhand ones. Anyone here have a JDM Evo bumper for sale? I'm on the East Coast, though. Mike, did they, like, fully discontinue them? I saw Mitsubishi was pulling off a lot of that JDM Evo stuff. Oh, shit, the emery cloth trick. I use it on the pulleys sometimes. It's the dumbest thing. Who cares about who cares about any of this let's get real dyno numbers? I mean, I'm not in a hurry for it at all. This is the first time I've actually had that car running and driving good in 2 years. So I'm going to enjoy it. I'm in no rush to put that thing on a dyno. And like I said, I'm not even going to put it back on the dyno until I get my EGT sensors, my EMAP sensor, my coolant pressure sensor, dual channel wideband controllers, all that stuff. So where I want the car to go, we need more sensors. Like it's just smart to have the extra security in there. So we're going to be doing that. Hey, appreciate the dono, Tara. Met Smedia at the parts store, and he said, I do like your dog. Gonna milk that for a while. Yeah, it was right by the shop. So that parts store that you're at, if you just go down the road a little bit, that giant complex where all those shops are, that's where we're at. It's pretty chill. I go to that O'Reilly's all the time whenever I'm like in a bind and I need stuff. Sick Tanner, big gulps. We'll catch you later. Hey, enjoy the big gulps. Are you getting big gulps? If you're getting big gulps, enjoy the big gulps. If not, enjoy whatever you're doing anyways. Hey, buddy, so glad to see she's purring good. Same, dude. Thanks party time. They continue production on them. I know STM and JDC have some rear bumpers. Mike, order them while they got them, dude. Order them while they got them. It took an entire business day, and they were not enthused with me bringing it in. Should have seen the invoice. Drastically modified. Easy 30 2.5 RS possible. Stock Easy 30. You know, Joe. You know, Ben. I do have some news for you. There is an Easy 30 coming to the channel in the near future. I'll tell you that much. I have an Easy 30 sitting at the shop right now. So just know you're getting your Easy 30 stuff eventually. It's at the shop. It's going in a car. I'm just not going to talk about it too much right now. I'm $500 deep on an electrical issue in my 2010 WRX. My HVAC had issues for the past 6 months. Only intensity working, can't change heat or zone, perfect for Canada. That sounds like not a fun issue at all. What's the car? What is the car, George? Willing to do an EJ25 on a bug. Dude, I've been looking for a bug for a while. I've been trying to buy my neighbor's bug for a while. I have a solid 1960s I've had for almost 30 years, 11,000 into. I'd be willing to donate. Dude, if you're serious, shoot me an email because I've been trying to buy my neighbor's bug for a while. I like every time I say I'm like, you ready to sell me that bug? If you're done, like I wanted to do an EJ swapped off-road bug. That's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I've been trying to get his. So if you're actually serious, I'll buy it off you. You don't have to donate. I'll buy it off you, dude. Media on... I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means, Christian. Christian, it's good to see you again, man. Good to see you, dude. Yo, dog, I went to get an exhaust system, but live in the barracks. What would you recommend I do with the OEM one when I switch it out? Take it to the dump? Or if you want to keep it, get a storage unit. I remember when I lived in the barracks and I had to try to... I used to keep all of my old car parts in my room and my command used to get mad at me. So, either hide them, or if your command don't care, just put them in your room. That's what I used to do. I had like a whole little closet area dedicated to stock parts. Easy 30, let's go. I left chasing Porsche on the track and almost sounded the same. Yeah, I got there's an Easy 30 coming soon. So, it's an Easy 30R, not a D. I don't like the Ds. I like the Rs. How's the RX-7? It's chilling. I haven't had time to work on it. I need to drop the oil pan on it, reseal the oil pan, and it should be good to go. I need to still build the mid pipe and weld on a 10 AN fitting onto the oil fill neck, and then that car's ready to go to the dyno also. So that one should be going to the dyno hopefully in the next month for super party crazy rotary time. EJ off-road bug. Sheesh, dude, I've been wanting to do one for a while. There was a bug eye hatch with 35s. Jesus. Oh, Alex, I read that. I thought it said just pooping in to say. Just popping in to say the flat six is looking excellent. Hey, appreciate it, Alex, man. I rebuilt my transmission in the barracks. Yeah, dude, you can do some quality stuff in the barracks. People underestimate what you can do in the barracks. Yo, it's a stream! Sorry, what's going on? Speedy, curious, what's your opinion is between the big name brand parts for the VB, parent versus cob versus ETS for intakes, intercools, etc.? Honestly, when it comes to it, I mean, there's parts that companies make that are good, and there's parts that companies make that are bad. There's parts that Cobb makes that are good, and there's parts that Cobb makes that are bad. There's parts. Go with any company. As for the VB, though, I have found that the Cobb parts fit finish the best, and they work fantastic also. The parent stuff, it works well. There's a couple design changes. If I was the one designing it, I would have made. But I mean, there's ups and downs with each one. You just got to kind of sift through and pick out which ones you want. And like budget and price is a huge one. Sinflux, appreciate the donut, man. I just traded my 09 STI hatch for an 07 BMW 335i single turbo. Just curious, have you ever thought of doing a BMW build? To be completely honest, European cars scare me after the Golf R. But like 07, 08 335i's, actually it might just be 07 335i's. That's one that I've wanted for a long time, like 10 years ago. I was wanting one of those things because those things make some good power, like cheap, like stupid cheap. But so in the near future, no BMW stuff planned. European cars just kind of, after the Golf R, I'm a little weary of them. We still have the Volkswagen, the GTI, and there's some stuff. No! My camera goes to sleep if I don't push the button on it, so I gotta push the button on it every now and then. So maybe in the near future. Also, the Ran Anderson, appreciate the dono. Same with you, Chris. Chris, what's going on, dude? How you doing? How you guys doing? Appreciate the dono, you guys. Do you have equal length header? Do you think equal length headers are worth changing the oil pan for? I mean, you shouldn't need to. I know on like some oil pans, you have to, like some older chassis, you have to swap the oil pans out when you do an equal length header. But most of them, you shouldn't need to. But if you want an equal length header and you want to do the oil pan, that's the perfect time to do it because it's easier to get the oil pan off with the exhaust manifold off. Daniel, jeez, coming in and killing it, dude. Get yours. Thanks, buddy. Hey, appreciate the dono. You guys are killing it tonight. What the hell? Appreciate it, man. Same with All Downhill. Thank you for the dono, you guys. Thoughts on twin plate organic clutches for 400 to 500? Honestly, kind of overkill. The ACT HDSS is my go-to clutch for kind of that 4 to 550 wheel horsepower range. It's the one that we're using in the 07 STI as well. It's not too stiff. It's a little bit stiffer than stock. Responds well. It takes a beating, and they're relatively affordable. If you're going to be doing it, I would probably use a stock flywheel. I've used lightweight flywheels. I've used stock flywheels. I kind of personally prefer the stock flywheels, but either option is a solid one to go with. O2WX EJ207 or hybrid? EJ25 USDM. I'm sorry, the 2-liter, I'm not a huge fan of the 2-liters, if we're being honest. I've got a 207 set of cases here and some other 207 parts sitting around, but like with how far the EJ25 has come in the States, it's just, in my opinion, it's just kind of the one to go with at this point. Like, all of the R&D's there. We know the tuning's there. We know the recipes to make power. We know what the limitations are on them. It's like 10 years ago, the 2-liters, the 207, they were great. They were awesome for like decent price swaps. But now the 2.5s, dude, there's so much more advancement on the 2.5s. It's just 2.5 makes way more sense in my opinion. My brother in Christ, please fix that TPMS on 23. On my car? I can't. The TPMS sensors don't fit. They don't fit with the wheels. I'd have to get some like aftermarket TPMS sensors or something. And it's just like, I just look at the light. Like, I just live at the light. Are you planning on a STI 6-speed for the VB? I already have one lined up for it. And early to mid next year, we're going to be doing the ETS quick spool kit on it, and potentially a built block, depending on if this FA24 explodes or not. So, you know, we'll see. My rule of thumb now when it comes to the cars is I have to at least maintain 2 running and driving cars, so that way I can go from point A to point B, go to the shop, go run errands, go do whatever I got to do. So the rule of thumb is I have to have 2 fully working cars before I take apart another car. Right now we have 3 working with 2 of them running well, so we're at that new like 2 margin. We have the WRX that runs great and the 17 STI that runs great. The RX-7 runs, but the RX-7 runs. We'll just leave it at that. The 07 STI should be running within the month. I'm thinking of wrapping my 21 WRX. I got bronze wheels. You think Midnight Green or Millennium? Dude, Millennium Jade. Millennium Jade, man. I'm so sold on Millennium Jade after doing it on the RX-7, which sucks because I got to take it off the RX-7, but it looks so good. It's such a good looking wrap. That's a good rule. See, that's what I'm saying. I need to at least maintain 2 running cars before I dismantle another one or beat another one into oblivion. Like that is my new rule. Matt update. Matt is at work. Matt works all the time now. I miss Matt. I can never get to hang out with Matt anymore. Matt's always at work. When are you going to post more RX-7 videos? It'll probably be January when the RX-7 stuff starts back up. I'm ordering some parts for the RX-7 tomorrow. Like I said, I need to drop the oil pan on it, reseal the oil pan, fix a transmission leak, which I think it's coming off the short shifter that I installed in the car because there is a gasket maker that goes around there. But aside from that, it's just a couple small things that I need to build for it, and then that car can go to the dyno and be solid. 2 cents. Appreciate the dono. Question: 2021 WRX with Cobb Big SF intake, Grimspeed EBCS AEM 340, making 310 296. Local shop is recommending a catback, P&L exhaust, front mount intercooler, AOS and AEM meth kit just to get 350. Is this overkill? It's not necessarily overkill, but it's a yes and no thing. You would probably be okay. Do you have access to E85? That's my first question. If you have access to E85, use E85 instead of meth. The front mount intercooler I'd recommend. The AOS I'd 100% recommend. The catback, if you don't already have one, I'd recommend. The P&L exhaust, is the catback the P&L one, or is the P&L the exhaust manifold? I mean, all of that is honestly where you need to get to get to 350. If you can replace the meth kit for E85 if you have access to E, I would definitely do that. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's overkill. It's going to put the car in a more reliable state to make the power easier, so that way it's not overstressing components that are being pushed past their limitations. Like a stock fuel pump, once you start running E80, obviously a stock fuel pump's not going to do good on E85, but oh no, because that's a direct injection, so I think you can only run E30 without replacing the high pressure fuel pump. Honestly, do an E30 blend in it. If you can get E, just do an E30 blend. But is it overkill? Not necessarily. I mean, I would probably recommend a similar setup if we're being honest. If it was a shop car here. The stock fuel pump, you're already probably pushing it at its limits for the low pressure fuel pump. But I would honestly probably swap them out. Yes, P&L catback exhaust. It doesn't have to be a P&L catback exhaust. You can get whatever catback you want. A catback's not necessarily going to change how much power you're going to make at that 350 horsepower level. You could put on a Tomei, P&L, AWE, any of those ones. You can put on whatever one you want. 2019 WX stock with axle back or STI catback SPT exhaust. The SPT, I don't like the SPTs. I know, you don't like them either, do you? No, you don't. I don't like the SPTs. They're overpriced for what they are, and they don't really sound that fantastic. It's like a small bump above like the factory exhaust, and that's kind of it. Mike, you know I got the electric blue Evo. What color should I powder coat my wheel? White, man. White. Thinking about white. I don't even have to keep reading it. White. Thinking about white. How bad was keep? Honestly, white wheels aren't that bad if you ceramic coat them. Then you can just kind of spray them off with a hose and give them a quick like scrub down. Do you want down? You wanted the uppies, and now you're here. All right, now you're stuck. Victoria, appreciate the donor, man. 2021 STI. I want to keep it stock. Should I get an IAG AOS? I love the car. Was coming from a 2013 WX. If you still have your factory warranty, and you want to kind of ride that out, just wait till the factory warranty's up. Most dealerships don't necessarily care about an AOS. It's very rare that I see like warranty claims get like kicked back for an AOS. But it doesn't hurt if you want to verify it through your dealer, make sure they're cool with it also. It doesn't hurt to do that. If it were my car, I would do it. Just kind of where I stand with it though. Hey, Heavy Metal WX and Smedia have made me want a VB WX so damn bad. They're honestly really good cars for daily drivers. I would not buy one to make power with. They are not great power cars, but they're great dailies if you just want like a little bit of power to drive around with and play with. All downhill. Is dyno tuning worth the higher price versus e-tuning? And what are your thoughts on X-Clutch? Would you ever do a first gen Impreza build? It would be sick. Which EJ25 is best in your opinion? Thoughts on Cobb TI exhaust? So I had the Cobb TI exhaust. It wasn't that bad, but I probably wouldn't buy it again for the price. E-tuning versus dyno tuning, you're gonna get the same end result either way, depending on the tuner that you have. The e-tuning portion puts more of a little bit realistic scenario into the tuning perspective because you have real world driving conditions that are going to be a little bit different than you get on a dyno. Obviously the dyno is going to simulate load to whatever you're setting it to, but I mean with e-tuning, to make it short, you're going to get the same result pretty much either way. If you have access to dyno tuning and you'd rather see your car on a dyno and you don't want to do street hits to be able to get data logs, do the dyno tune. X-Clutch, I used X-Clutch in... What did I use it in? I used it in the 04 STI. It wasn't a bad clutch. First gen Impreza build, have one. I just don't want to touch it right now. It's sitting in timeout thinking about what it did. White wheels, PTSD. Dude, they look great. I'm all about white wheels, man. Hey, I have a 2008 STI. When I start it, cold start only, the RPMs bounce from 1200 to 2000 for about 45 seconds, and then it evens out eventually. Are you tuned? Are you stocked? Do you have parts on the car? Give me a little more info on that, Daddy-O. Closely debating on either a G30 900 or a G35 900 on an EZ30. What would you recommend, 620, 650? I couldn't give you literally any turbo recommendations on Garrett's because I've never used a Garrett. I couldn't tell you, for being honest. I would look at they have these charts, like efficiency charts. I would look at those and kind of make your decision based off that. Gotta go study, but I'm glad you're live streaming again. Cheers. Hey, good luck with the studying, Steel Media. Hopefully it goes well, man. Corgi! Mochi, would you like to say hi? People keep calling you out. Here. This is Mochi. The Korg. Okay, you can lay back down. She's like, just put me down. I just want to lay down. Would you ever get a motorcycle? Yes. Yes, I would. I would want to start out on a Honda Grom, though. I want a Grom. Wondering if I should hold off on the WX TR or maybe wait till it... Why would you get the TR? What's the TR? The TR's only got Brimbos. I mean, the only reason to buy a TR is for the Recaros. At the end of the day, that's the only real reason. You can get the Brimbos on literally anything else. You buy the Brimbos aftermarket, you put them on. I've got a TDMI big brake kit going on a 23 WX I'm doing out there. If you are buying a TR, I feel like you're only buying the TR for the Recaros because at the end of the day, I mean, you get a premium base limited and do all that stuff aftermarket and get the same result. A bit of an odd question. Ever thought about doing anything with a billet block with insane power in the future? Cheers from Brazil. To be completely honest, I've never looked into buying a billet block. Just in my opinion, I feel like a billet block is a little bit of a waste of money. I can take a used set of cases or a used engine I have, send it out to a machine shop, get it closed deck, do all the machining that I want to it, get it to the level I want, and then send it. Billet blocks are insanely expensive for something that will inevitably die. And when a billet block dies, depending on the failure, you might have to scrap the whole thing. If I'm using a stock engine that I've had machined, it's going to be significantly cheaper for me to run that. So, plus, I mean, it depends on the insane power level also. I mean, 880 to like 850 to 880 where the STI is at right now. I did 2 street hits on the way back from the dyno, and that feels insane. Like, I don't even know what I need more power than that for. Like, obviously, I'm going to send the car to go make more power, and then I'll just drive it detuned. But, like, at that point, when you start getting into that insane power, what do you need it for? I don't go drag racing consistently all the time. I guess not really my thing. Like, I go do it for fun. But it's like, I don't see a need for that insane power level. Plus, you also have to remember that when it comes to making power up to a certain point is like somewhat justifiable, but making power after a certain point becomes increasingly more difficult to do. Like, say you're trying to make between 400 and 600 wheel horsepower. Boom, you know what to do. Say you want to make between 600 and 800 horsepower. Boom, here's what you do. But then after you start getting past that 800 and you're looking for more, there's more difficulties and more challenges and more things that you need to take into consideration because you're putting a lot more stress on things. You're trying to fight for more power, more flow, more fuel, and all this other stuff, and it becomes so much more expensive that if you don't have a genuine reason to be making that power, cost effective, it's just not worth it. Like, it's just not worth it at that point. You need to start racing more often. Believe it or not, I used to race every weekend when I lived in Louisiana because the tracks were open year-round and they weren't stupid expensive like they are up here. So I would love to do it up here. I'm going to be doing it this coming year now that I have somewhat gotten finances a little bit better. I can afford to go to the track now. It's just, dude, it's just wildly expensive up here. And the only tracks that they have are drag racing. I mean, they have autocross, but they fill up in like same day. It's stupid. Having a problem with window moldings is OEM my only option. I would honestly just go OEM. Aftermarket ones can, 9 times out of 10, I see them leak more than they're worth, and you end up buying the OEM ones anyway. So just buy once, cry once. I totally get it. I have to buy all new seals for the RX-7. Not looking forward to paying that bill. Do you want down? Because you don't want down, and you're getting the pets. You know you can jump down. Don't give me that. You still on the fence with Aeroflow Dynamics? I feel like that's the way I should have done it. Am I on the fence with Aeroflow Dynamics? What are you talking about? I have their flares on my car. I like their flares. I'm not a big fan of the wings, but I like the flares. I mean, I really like the flares. Are you jumping down? You look here. Do you want help? Here. Woo! Be free. Do you want out, too? I don't know what you want. Corgi, you need to tell me with words. Dogs, man. If only they could speak English. Sell me your JDM STI mirrors. Never. I'll never sell those. I bought those when they were still making them, and I will keep them till the day I die. The Ridge Motorsport track. Is that too far? It's not too far. That's the one we're going to be going to more often. The Ridge is just expensive because I need a trailer, fuel for the day, track fees. Last time I looked for the last track that they were hosting, I want to say it was like $450 for the day, which I feel like it's a lot. Maybe I'm just comparing it to what I was used to when I lived in Louisiana, because you go down to Louisiana, spend like $80 for the entire day, and you're like golden. Why you suggest E85 over meth? With meth, unless you have like fail safes built in, then if your meth runs out in your mid-pull, you're going to take out a motor. With the E85, obviously it's in your fuel tank. You can see your fuel gauge. You just got to be a little bit more careful with meth. Running meth is totally fine. It's totally safe. You just have to keep an eye on your levels in your meth tank. You have to have, I would highly advise having a fail-safe or a safety built into it, so that way if you are running low on methanol, you don't accidentally do a pull when the car thinks it has methanol and it tries to spray methanol and it doesn't have methanol, and you lean out and you take out an engine. From a safety aspect, it's easier and more convenient to run E85 than it is methanol if you have access to E85. Would you ever build a BRZ? Go back on my channel, man. I built a turbo BRZ when we first started the channel. I got the whole build series on it. It was my 2013 BRZ. We did the MAP turbo kit on it. Thing was a blast. Thing was a hoot. Dog, we got the same chair. You get this at Best Buy? You get this thing at Best Buy? I don't hate this chair. It's just, you know, it's not crazy. It's not crazy right there. Rod knock on a 15 Forester at 68K. Suggestions? And fix it? Replace the block? Rebuild the block? I mean, you got options. If you don't mind doing it yourself, then rebuild it. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. What's going on? Never been a fan of meth. Same. I'm not a massive meth fan. E85 is magic juice. It is. It is. I'm all about my E85. And now that Forced Induction Motorsports, they're close enough, they stock E85, I can just drive down there, go fill up all my E85 containers, and just buy it off of them versus going up to Snoqualmie. Because that's where I used to get my E85. For those of you that are in Washington, there's like very few E85 stations. I used to go up to Snoqualmie. And in the wintertime, their E85 can go down to like E60, and it sucks. You put E60 in a car that's expecting E70 minimum, you're going to run into problems. I have a 98 2.5 RS Impreza dual overhead cam. I want to do 250 wheels. Should I STI swap it or rebuild it? Boost it, maybe single overhead cam swap. Do you know any good shops in Ohio? Isn't OTL? Is OTL in Ohio or Iowa? I always get Iowa and Ohio mixed up. If any of you guys live in either of those states, please don't take that personally. I just always get them backwards. You want to do 250 wheel? Honestly, 98. Just Impreza dual overhead cam. Just do like a mild build on the current engine. Just do rod piston, and then just do like a NAT build on it. You can do 250 no problem on that thing all day long. All day long, 250. Have you ever crashed? Crashed what? Crashed what? A car? Have I ever crashed a car? Yes, I have. Two. I think it's two. 1.5. 1.25. 1.25. 1.25. Is it worth building an EG or an EJ? That entirely depends on what you want to do with the car. I'm a big EG fanboy now. I like my EGs. Yeah, I didn't show you guys the graph in the STI's video, mainly because things just weren't working properly. But dude, that car, that EG, oh, that's 7675. If you guys had to guess what RPM we had full boost on that 7675, you'd never guess. Never guess. It's insane. 4,500 RPM. She goes full lit. We got full turbo, right? 4,500. That's insane. You do that on an EJ, you're looking at like 55, 6,500 RPM depending on turbo size and head work and everything like that. It's absolutely wild. VB content coming soon tomorrow. VB video doing carbon fiber hood, trunk, wheels, steering wheel, AOS. My brain's like malfunctioning. Carbon fiber wing, whole bunch of stuff. I'm working on it out in the garage right now. It was supposed to be a VB video going live today, but I accidentally formatted this SD card that had all of the footage on it, and I just threw it on the floor. It accidentally killed that video, so that's my fault. What can I do about my AC compressor? It's seized up. If I use window defrost, it smokes in the cab. I can replace it myself, but I don't have any way to deal with the Freon. Depending on what state you're in, you're gonna have to take it somewhere. Like, they just removed all of the like self-charging Freon system stuff that we had here, the R134, so we have to take it to a shop. It sucks unless you have an AC machine. Actually, I think Harbor Freight sells some DIY ones that you can buy at home. I would check out Harbor Freight. I don't know how much they sell them for, but I'm pretty sure Harbor Freight has something along those lines. We got 5 inches of snow yesterday. My STI is officially parked for winter. Dude, this is the time. This is the time to take it out and enjoy. This is what it's built for. This is what it's built for. I wish we got snow. We don't get snow over here. We don't get it. Thick single ply or soft 2-ply? Man, it don't matter to me. I roll that thing up into a bed of TP anyways. How many sheets are you using? 1 sheet, 2 sheet, 3 sheet, 4 sheet? I take a handful and I fold it up into a nice like napkin. I don't want any penetration, man. I don't want my oh, nope. Especially when you get that like that 1-ply. Who's using 1-ply, man? Don't use 1-ply. Don't use Rem-ply. Remy! How's the Honda going, man? God, I love Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight comes in clutch way too often. Way too often. I think most of my stuff, except for all of my Milwaukee stuff that I have, I'm pretty sure all my tools came from Harbor Freight. And I don't think I've broken any of them, really. A couple things maybe here and there. Got a delicious tuning E85 kit and have been having issues with AF correction and learning several revisions later and still having issues. IDK what to do. Who's tuning the car? Who do you have tuning the car right now? And what is the car? That's the other one. What is the car and who's tuning it? So did you raise the red line on the VB? Yes, we raised it to 6,400 RPM, I think. It's wild, dude. The RPM on those things so low. Red line's so low. Mine's a 2021 with 3,600 miles on it. Thing's still a baby. That thing's a baby. Matt getting anywhere with the SRT4. Hasn't touched it in a long time. So no. No. GD updates. The cylinder heads got dropped off tonight. There's 1 or 2 more shipments of parts coming for it. I just placed another order for GD stuff last night. coming for it. So we're going to be starting up on the GD as soon as I get done with this. So upcoming videos, just so you guys have an idea. Tomorrow is this 23WX I've been doing. Then after that, it's going to be fixing and doing first impressions of the STI, driving the STI around, having fun with it, launching it a couple times, doing all that fun stuff. It's going to be weather dependent on everything that we do, just because it's been raining a lot, depending on the not the capacity, the violence of the rain will kind of depend on what we're doing. So that, and then I'm going to bring the STI back over here to the house from the shop, so that way we have room at the shop. Then the RX-7 is going to get pushed out, the 07 is going to go on the lift. We're going to do full build on the 07, literally replace everything, wet sand the whole car, repolish the whole car, try to make that paint that we have on there look good, paint the flares, all this other stuff. After the 07's done, then we're going to, hello yogurt, then we're going to move into the RX-7, get the RX-7 done, tuned, then we're going to just keep pile driving through. Jared, appreciate the donut, man. I have a 96 Impreza EJ207 swapped with a 444 transmission. Will turn it into a Boxer drift missile. Any tips? Make sure you have a really good oil system. Like, that's just the biggest tip. If you can, STI 6-speed with the rear-wheel drive spool in there. The biggest thing I can tell you is just keep your oil system in check. When it comes to drifting Subarus, obviously you're throwing that thing, so all the oil is going to slosh over to one side of the pan. You start with the pickup, you're going to kill it. If you can, an AccuSump's not a bad idea to add in. Ever since I got the AccuSump in that 17 STI, I've been kind of a fan of them. It's a nice little precaution to have, and you can flip them on and off with a switch. In drifting, that might not be a bad idea to do either, but it's also going to depend on the size of the AccuSump and everything like that, because when you're doing that many hard G drift type deals, it'll empty the AccuSump, and then when it goes to refill the AccuSump, you don't want the AccuSump to get all of the oil and no oil go to the bearing. So you kind of got to find that happy middle ground with your oil system. But that's the biggest thing, quality oil system right there, man. I remember calling around for the best junk price. This old guy's starting to yell at me, wasting his time. Tanner, you or Remy should build an EJ20. I'm just not a big fan of 2 liters. I'm just not a big 2-liter fan. Yo, bro, big fan since 2019. I'm currently in the military. I've heard about your time in the Army. I was thinking about getting out. Would you be willing to talk about your time since you've been out? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can. I got out of the Army in 2015. I was stationed in Fort Polk. I was a 15 Whiskey, which is a UAS operator. I flew drones when I was in the Army. When I got out, of course, if you're in the military and you go to get out of the military and go back to the civilian world, there's always like this scare factor of like, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna live? How am I gonna get a job? What am I gonna do? Like, there's gonna be like this 2 to 3 month period where you're just like, what do I do with my life now? The biggest thing I can tell you is document all your stuff, any like injuries from your time in service to the VA before you get out. When you get out, set up your VA appointments immediately, so that way you're not like me and then you got to wait 1.5 to 2 years to actually do any claims with the VA. And it's just like after like a 6-month period of being out, it just feels like normal life again. It's just like that transitional period is just a little bit weird, but after you get past that, you're totally fine. It's just like normal life again. Have you ever seen a built supercharged Subaru? Is that even a thing? I actually have. I've seen a couple of them, seen a handful of them. They're not, I mean, they're like fun. They're responsive, like fun builds, but for like big power, you're not really going to make a ton of like big power with a supercharger build. Plus, I mean, the turbo stuff works so well on these cars. I just got out of MEB. How's that? What the fuck? That's dope, bro. Good shit. I had no clue you served. Yes, sir. I did 1 deployment to Afghanistan in 2013, I think. Something along those lines. Would an 08 to 14 STI intercooler fit on an 06 WRX, or would I need to cut a few things? I mean, it should honestly, it should just fit, no problem. You might have to like modify a couple things, but it should just fit in there. Yo, Smeedy, I've been watching you in beta for a couple years now. First stream of yours I've seen. Hey, what's going on, Aspect Legacy? I used to do them like twice a week before things got like crazy busy. Ideally, if I could go back to doing 1 a week, that'd be kind of nice. I enjoy doing these. Who's heard of Clark Tuner Tuning? What do you think? I've heard of him. Don't know much about him though. It's a where did I just go? I just lost where I was. Will we see an Evo on the channel again sometime in the near future? In the future, yes. I don't know at what point. I think you'd really enjoy an Evo X, parts availability. I want my Evo 9. I want an Evo 9. I settled for that Evo 8 that I got, and if I buy another Evo, I'm not buying one that's a bare shell and I gotta put it back together again. Not doing it. If I buy an Evo, it's gonna be an Evo 9. Doesn't have to be a clean title, but it's gonna be an Evo 9, and it's gonna run if I buy it. But yes, I would like another one in the future. Good. VA has been pretty good to me. It's weird being out, but it's weird being out. You miss the army? Dude, I don't miss anything. I miss my friends that I made like friends with in the army, but the army I don't miss any of that. Maybe it's because I was stationed in Fort Polk and like all my leadership sucked. With the exception of a few. If any of my old leadership watches this, I'm not going to say who, but you can just assume that I liked you. If not, I probably didn't like you. Yo, how much wheel torque do stock XD STI clutches hold? I mean, realistically, like safely, like reliably, like 350, 360. Once you start getting past that, you're going to start like flirting with danger. The 400 wheel point is where it's going to start like slipping once you start beating on it enough. I live in really cold weather. Should I get into AOS or what is really cold weather? Like, if you live in like negative 30, if you get temperatures of like negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit and below, get a catch can. If you see that regularly, get a catch can. If you live somewhere where you're not seeing negative 30 and below frequently, you should be okay with an AOS. I was just medically retired from the Army last week. Congratulations! Congratulations. That DDT-14. That's where it's at. That's where it's at right there. How would you describe the Grimspeed JB400? Have you ever driven a car in a 20G with comparison? I've driven 20G cars. They don't feel bad. The JB400, I actually really enjoyed that turbo. It was a really good street turbo. We have the BB500 going in the 07 STI at the shop. So I can give you some like quality feedback with that. We had it in the 04 STI, but I got rid of the 04 STI so quick when that RX-7 deal came up that I didn't really get to drive it too much. So good vet advice. That's what I did when I got out of the Army. I commend you, good sir. Hey, appreciate it, man. Appreciate you for your service as well. Can I use 272 cams on an EJ20? What heads are you using? That's the question here. The heads are the question. I don't care about the short block. What heads? Are they EJ20 or are they EJ25? You doing a hybrid build, non-hybrid? Yeah, I was in 11C mortars, friends with. See, I know the people are what you miss the most when you get out. The people are what you miss the most. Are those crazy expensive AOS worth it? The only one I'd really like the go-to AOS is IAG. If it's in your budget, get the IAG one. They look good, they fit good, they work fantastic. There's so many install videos out there, so you're not going to struggle installing it. Can it be a little intimidating your first time? 100%. The first time I installed the AOS, it was on my 08 STI, and it was a Crawford V2 AOS, and that thing took me, I want to say it was 10 hours to install. 10 hours to install my first AOS. Now I can do them in about 40 minutes. But the first one, when you go to do it's going to look intimidating. You're going to have all these hoses. You're not going to know where they go. You're not going to know what they do. You're going to be like, it just says to take this hose off and put this one here, and you're going to have no idea what hose you just took off. Don't be too intimidated by it. Worst case scenario, a hose rips. You go get a new one from the auto parts store or Subaru. It's not a big deal. But it's totally worth it. My recommendation is always IAG. It's one that I use in all of them. They work fantastic. There's a reason that we use them. Let me just say that. I have 350 days left in the Air Force. I have been documenting everything I can. Do it! Document literally everything. Literally all of it. The VA will back pay you to your exit date also if you get disability. Keep that in mind. 10 hours, LOL. My first one was 6. Dude, 10 hours. That's how long it took me for my first AOS, was 10 hours. Hey, Tanner. Warranty safe products for 2024 Outback Wilderness. I mean, it's kind of a hard question to answer because warranty safe, like you could lift the car, break an axle. They're not going to warranty an axle because you lifted the car. Cosmetic things are pretty safe. Lighting things are pretty safe. Interior modifications are pretty safe. Pretty much anything that's visual is going to be safe. Wheels and tires, those are going to be safe. If it doesn't change the mechanics of how something operates, you should be safe. So just kind of follow that golden rule. No engine mods, no drivetrain mods, no suspension mods, and you should be okay if you want to retain that complete warranty right there. I was actually looking at getting a Wilderness in the near future as like a Overlander build. I want to do an Overlander build next year. I think it'd be fun. We went up into the mountains a couple weeks ago and took the dogs up to the glacier runoffs, the rivers, and they absolutely loved it. But we took the Legacy up there, and it's lowered and everything like that. We just don't have any good like overland cars, so I think it'd be kind of fun. I wonder. Oh yeah, I wonder if his student at Berkeley would 3D scan and print a supercharger manifold and twin screw for an EG. That'd be kind of cool. What about non-warranty engine mods? Like you don't care about your warranty at all, and you just want to like full send it. Don't buy a car with a warranty. I mean, when you buy a brand new car, it comes with a warranty. It comes with factory warranty. I live in Minnesota, so I'm probably going to the AOS. Well, there you go. There you go. What's a good metric or time to replace the rubber hose and such in your engine bay? Time or mileage? Neither necessarily. The way that I gauge when these hoses need to be replaced is if you can't squish the hose with your finger and it is like rock hard, it's time to replace it. That's typically my gauge. You should be able to like grab the hose and pretty much touch the inner walls of that hose together. If you can't squeeze it, replace it. FA24 swap a cross track. I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound like a fun time. If we're being honest, that doesn't sound like a fun time. If I'm engine swapping a car, I don't want to engine swap a cross track. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Do you think the heads from the FA24 would work in the FA20? I don't know. I don't want to tell you yes and then you buy a set and try it. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no to be on the safe side, but it's a possibility that they could. I haven't taken apart an FA24 yet. I've taken apart FA20, so I couldn't 100% tell you if it would be a direct swap. Have you seen the twin turbo V12 hatch build? Yeah, I have. He builds a lot of 2J swaps also. He's a really cool dude. What tires would you run for a daily hatch? Honestly, my favorite tire is the DWS Extreme Contact Sports by Continental. Best tire for a daily driver. Good in the snow, good in the wet, good in the dry. They're not obviously not winter tires, but they're not also summer tires. But they're a really good in between tire. And like for where I live, that's awesome. That's like my go-to tire. Where did I just go? I don't know. I just lost where I was. Lowered cross track is just a WREC hatch, right? I mean, pretty much at this point. Pretty much the same thing. Is it possible to convert an Outback Wilderness to manual transmission? Yes and no. Is it possible? Yes. Is it financially smart? No, it's not. When it comes to doing that, you'd essentially need to put the car in a standalone and run a PDM at that point, because the cars that come stock with the CVTs, they run so much CAN communication now that with that transmission not being there, it's going to cause more problems and you're going to be able to try and source out. If you were to do it, you'd have to put it on a standalone, run a PDM, run all this stuff to be able to just make it work. Can you do it? Yes. Is it worth doing? No, not at all. Not at all. Tanner, have you seen an EJ crank and cylinder? Have you seen an EJ crack a cylinder and cause similar issues to a blown head gasket? Have I? Yeah, I've got like 2 of them sitting in our parts graveyard pile out there that have cracked cylinders. I've seen it. It can blow a head gasket depending on what the failure point is, but I have seen it. Somewhat common. Typically, it happens on cars that aren't tuned well and are getting abused. Like those are the 2 biggest contributing factors. They throw parts on the cars, don't tune them, and then beat the hell out of them. That's typically what I see cause it. It's just extreme detonation, and it just kills the motors. Favorite build besides H6 STI? My favorite? My 05 STI. My old 05 STI, I think. I miss that car. That's the one car that I genuinely regret selling. I wish... Let me specify that more. My 05 STI with the FP Black. I absolutely... That is the best setup I've ever had for a street car. FP Black 05 STI with like the DAMD wheel, the flock dash, the nice Defi gauges, the JDM little parts that I had on it. I want to say probably that 05 STI with the FP Black setup. That was one of my favorite cars, and I miss that thing. How do 275s handle on the ruts on I-5? I have no idea. I avoid I-5 at all costs. When I took the STI down to FIM, I took all the back roads. I went through like Yelm and Rainier and those areas. So I haven't taken it out on I-5 yet on 275s. I hate I-5, dude. It's so bad. 05 with the Carltons. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That car. To be honest, I hated the taxi livery. Dude, it was so fun. The taxi not for hire, dude. It was so fun. This was before it had the taxi livery. When it was still Obsidian Black, not flared, FP Black setup. Absolutely loved that. I loved it, dude. It was so fun. That was probably the most fun. It was RA block. It took so much abuse. I beat the hell out of that car. I flat foot shifted it all the time. I miss that car. I miss that car in the setup it was in. I don't miss that car how it would be now. Austin, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I don't miss that car. What's the main cause of problems with EJs? bad tunes, not getting a tune, improper part selection, not taking care of the car properly. I mean, there's a I've got videos on all this stuff of what takes out these engines. I mean, they're basic rules to follow. It's like almost, it's pretty much any turbocharged car. If a turbocharged car runs a MAF sensor, needs a tune for parts, which is a good amount of them. Anything that changes the amount of air that enters or exits the engine, anything that changes the amount of fuel that enters or exits the engine is going to require a tune, with the exception of like a catback. Like a catback's not going to change anything. It's just with any turbo car that runs a MAF sensor. If you can't scale the MAF when you start changing things and you can't scale fuel, you're going to have problems. It's just going to kill the car. It doesn't matter what the car is. Is it going to take a little bit longer to kill some of the other cars? Yeah. The biggest problem as to why these Subarus die is they're aluminum blocks. You look at like an Evo is going to take more abuse than a Subaru will. It's a cast iron block. It's just going to. So, I mean, there's a handful of variables that can take out the engines. Follow the basic steps we've outlined, and you shouldn't have any issues. Knew you were getting a VB inevitable snap. I gotta do it. I gotta do it to stay like up to date with the Subaru stuff and the YouTube stuff. I'm gonna be honest. So I divide my cars up into like two categories. I have my permanent cars, like me cars, and I've got content cars. The VB is a content car. That's not a car that's gonna stay around forever. That is a content car. Once I'm done with that car, it will get parted out, traded in for whatever's next. That one is 100% a content car. Hot air going in is a big issue no matter the engine. That's also a really good point. You want to try to keep those temps as cool as possible. The 4G63 is great. I would say the 4G63 is, I mean, it's a good motor. I wouldn't be like, it's fantastic, it's great, it's the best thing ever. It's a good motor. It's a good motor. I still have that one clip. I don't like the VB. You know, there's still aspects. I'm doing a 6-month review on the VB video coming up soon of things that, like, I've learned from it, I don't like and I do like. So that should be a good one coming out. Would you consider doing an off-road build? I was just talking about this earlier. Yeah, I want to do an overland build. I want to do an overland build out there. I saw another SRT4 comment come up, but I lost it. Oh, would you do an SRT4 build? We have one outside. It's not mine. I just don't want to touch it. That's Matt's. Would anyone buy a WRX hybrid STI? Personally, I would not. If I'm buying one, I'm either buying it blown up or I'm buying it stock. I'm getting around 13 AFR at watt on my EJ205. Is it too lean at watt? 13 is, in my opinion, too lean at watt. I'd like to see that lower. 13 is, well, I mean, it doesn't matter the fuel type. 13 is too lean. 13 is too lean at watt. Rally build, not a rally build, just like an overlanding build, something we can just go take up into the mountains, like drive around, have fun with, not worry about like scraping the car on the ground or rocks coming up and destroying things, you know what I mean? So just one we can take up into the mountains and just enjoy with. Like I was debating doing it, but I don't necessarily know how the content would do on YouTube, because I know YouTube likes to ban a lot of it. Like I'm a big gun dude. I go shooting every now and then, so I think it'd be kind of fun to have like an overlanding build that we can take up to the mountains, go shooting with, and go have fun with. Maybe do some like shooting videos in the future, depending on how YouTube reacts to that, because I know they're a little touchy with those types of videos. So I mean, we'll see where that goes in the future, but I want to do an overlanding build so that way we can just go up into the mountains, have fun, and just kind of do the stuff we do up there. I remember your advice about the FB25D. I am getting a Valtronic for it. Ooh, that'll be fun. That'll be a fun little thing to do. Do you think the STI prices will appreciate or depreciate? Depends on the generation. VA chassis, I don't see VA chassis appreciating unless it's an RA or a 209. GR hatch prices I see appreciating. The sedans, not so much. I see them just kind of leveling off where they're at. GD STI prices for clean, decent mileage ones, I see going up in value if they're rust-free, so that's my take on it. That's my take on it. What service do you provide for customer cars? I mean, it's a wide variety. I'm pretty picky about some of the cars that I take in now. I used to take a lot of them, and I'm a little more picky about the ones that I'll take in now. So it kind of depends. I'll do full builds for people. I'll do some installs for people. I'm a little picky with what I take in now. Is it possible to do secondary air pump delete without throwing codes since green update? I've been throwing a... Yes, there is, but there is. I'm just going to tell you that there is. I can't tell you how, but I'm going to tell you that there is. What service can you provide for customer cars? I mean, I do everything. Like this... Hey, don't, Yogi! Dude just had surgery and he's running around like he doesn't have stitches. It depends. For customer cars, like I said, I'm a little bit picky on what I'll take in, but Melanie's grabbing him. I'm just a little bit. He can come in here if he wants. Are you done barking at the door, bud? You did so good at guarding. I remember I got distracted by the dogs. Horsepower numbers these days are stupid, and it confuses people on what they need versus what they want. I agree. I agree with that to an extent. I mean, it's nice to know how much power the car makes, but at the end of the day, if you're having fun with the car and it makes fun power and you're enjoying it, I mean, that's kind of all that matters. Because then you start going down the rabbit hole of, oh, I want more horsepower, I need a bigger number, and everyone starts chasing numbers, and it just becomes irrelevant. Like, it's cool to know the number, and it's nice to know the number, but... Do I sell those ID 1300s? I have 2 of them. I sold 4 of them sold already, unfortunately. I got 2. I got 2 ID 1300s. What is considered FBO for the VA? I mean, in theory, technically everything bolts on. In my opinion, FBO is like just turbo, downpipe, intake, headers, anything that just bolts onto the outside of the engine, in my opinion, is considered FBO. But technically, everything just bolts on, so technically, couldn't it all just be FBO? Limit for the power on stock motor 2020 STR the 85. I don't like those questions because it's so open-ended. Safely, I'm going to give you a safe number for that, and that is 400 wheel. Can you push it farther? Yes. But it also depends on how you drive, who tuned the car. There's so many other variables that go into it. Safely, you should be able to do 400. Tanner, you ever see yourself building a S20X or S40X? Subaru Impreza? Nah. Probably the Grails next to the 22B. To be honest, probably not. We're just being completely honest. Probably not. Probably not. Precision or Garrett for street racing? Street racing? Or if you're doing like street stuff, I'm not going to say street racing. If you're building a street car, Precision is just fine. I would say if you're doing a track car, you want a Garrett. Garrett's use water cooling, so it's not going to overheat the turbo. You can get more consistent temperatures with a Garrett than you would out of a Precision. Precision just uses oil cooling as oil flows through the CHRA to extract heat. Can you run a Precision on a track and have minimal to no issues? 100%, but the Garrett seems like the more logical turbo in my choice, or an EFR is a really good one also. EFR is if you're doing like track stuff. Anything that flows coolant through it to be able to extract more heat, because you'll have the oil extracting heat as well as the coolant. So if you can get one that flows coolant for track use, that'd be beneficial, but if you're just building a street car, a Precision or just an oil-cooled turbo should just be fine. Have I ever worked on an SVX? Funny enough, no, I have not. I just pillaged their engines, and then SVX owners get upset with me. But keep in mind, I'm not the one taking these EG33s out of these cars, okay? I'm buying ones that have already been sitting in garages, shops. I didn't kill these SVXs, okay? Don't come after me with pitchforks. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Got Diablo 4 with a buddy tonight. Have fun, Mr. Heavy Metal WRX. Would you need aftermarket cams for 800 horsepower EJ? Yes. Yes, some people are going to say that Josh did it with stock cams. For you, yes, you want aftermarket cams. Anybody needs it. Anybody should have aftermarket cams for that power level. Let me say that. Can you do it with stock cams? It's been done. Wouldn't suggest it, though. SVX is an odd car, even for a Subi. I wouldn't mind buying an SVX, for being honest. I think an SVX would be kind of fun to have. I think it would be a fun one. I'd be down for SVX stuff. But also, at the same time, no, I wouldn't, because all those parts are discontinued. I like them. I probably wouldn't buy one, though. Why is my AOS making a gargling and slurping noise in the winter? Depending on, is it below freezing? If it's below freezing, your return line might be freezing with condensation, causing oil and whatnot to be gargling and making all these noises in there, as it could be causing back pressure from the crankcase. Like I said earlier, if you see consistent temperatures that are around like super cold, like negative 30-ish, keep an eye on that. Or if you park your car outside in like 0 Fahrenheit weathers, I would probably keep an eye on that as well if it's parked out there for multiple days. People say it's too much work for SVX. I mean, I've seen people restore SVXs, and I give kudos to them, but dude, those parts are so hard to come by now. What do you think about the ETS turbo kits? They're great turbo kits, but they're great turbo kits. Personally, I wouldn't buy one just because after the hatch, I now know I can build one for significantly cheaper. But for somebody who doesn't want to learn to fabricate, someone who doesn't want to learn how to weld and like build their stuff, which I totally get. A lot of people don't have the capabilities for that, and I don't blame you at all. ETS turbo kits are awesome. They're awesome alternatives. I'm not a huge fan of where ETS puts the turbos on some of them, but as for functionality, they work fantastic. Do you think the VGTs could end up being compatible with gas? VGTs? What is a VGT? I don't know what that acronym is. Vehicle gasoline turbos? I could say some other things, but it probably wouldn't be appropriate. When do you think you'll have a blue 2011 STI? What's it going to be 2011? I don't know. At some point in the future, we'll get a GV STI. So you got the GVs, which are sedans, and the GRs that are hatchbacks. GC. I see all the 2.5 RS comments in here, okay? I've just been blatantly ignoring them. The car's sitting in a storage unit. I will touch it at some point. I just don't want to... What I want to do with the coupe is something I don't have the funds or the space to do yet. So it's going to sit in storage and think about what it did until I'm ready to bring it out. So at this time, I don't have an exact date. In the future. That's all I can say on that one. Variable geometry turbos. I don't know enough about that, so I'd have to look more into it. I don't know how to answer that. Killer Bee turbo inlet. I have one sitting at the shop. You should try a Zona rotor turbo, co-owned by Tile and FP. Also coolant cooled. Also coolant cooled. It's a fun way to say that. Coolant cooled. Because I have a GV STI, I'm wanting you to get one. Funny enough, I've never had a GV STI. I've had GR STIs. I've had a GV WRX. Never an STI, though. So it's going to be a big build, though. It will be a big build, yes. I just don't have the means to do it at this moment, if that makes... With the other projects going on, I should specify. Do you still have the hatch? I do not have the hatch anymore. I do know who owns the hatch now, and I feel so bad for him. So, my 2011 WRX, the one that made like north of 700 horsepower, parted that car out, put a stock motor back in it, replaced the engine harness and a couple other things in it just to trade it in and get it running and driving again for somebody else. It had some weird issue. I gave up. I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I towed it down to Subaru, traded it in. They gave me $15,000 for that car, not running and driving, and it went to an auction. Some other dealership bought the hatch, not running and driving. I don't know what they did to it. I'm guessing they put like 2050 in that stock motor to make it run or something. Someone else bought it. He stumbled across my Instagram, saw that I used to have the hatch. He obviously, it still had the wrap on it, the cut bumper, the wheels, the brakes, the 6-speed, things like that. So he knew the car was mine prior. He took it, was driving it for a week, and it blew up on him. So I feel so bad for that dude. I didn't want to see anybody get that car. I was hoping it would just get like sent far away where I'd never have to see him again or see it again. But thankfully, the dude was smart and he bought a warranty. So Subaru's replacing the engine in that thing free of charge for him. So kudos to him. Still has the STI 6-speed in it. Still has the Brimbos, the RPF ones, and some of the other stuff I left on it. So he said he's enjoying it. He seems happy with it. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's really all that matters. Hey dude, VB tuning question. Do you see feedback knock under no load when cruising? Yeah, I mean, I get like negative 1.4 every now and then. It's pretty normal. I mean, anything below negative 4.20 is considered a normal value, so there's nothing to really stress. I like the newer dual turbo banks of 3 cylinders or rotor cylinder kind of cylinder pressure. Those are interesting. I'll have to look into these VGT turbos. I haven't looked into them too much. If you do a car giveaway, it'll fund that build. I won't do a car giveaway. I don't want to do a car giveaway. It's like people do all these car giveaways, and it just seems so... What is the word? What is the word that I'm looking for? It seems so... I can't find the word I'm looking for. When I do giveaways, it's things that I like to build and give to people. Like the short blocks that we give away. I enjoy taking the time to build those custom for somebody to have a custom short block in their car. I like doing things like that. It's more memorable in my opinion than just buying a car, throwing some bolt-on parts for it, and being like, here you go. Here's a car that I spent literally minimal time on, just bolting parts on. I hope you enjoy it, kind of thing. I wanted, like, if I'm giving something away, I want it to be like, I put time into this. Like, you know what? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? David, what up, dude? Long time no stream. I like that. Just checking in. Congrats on Blue. Thanks, dude. How you been? Mr. Davad? What's going on, man? What about another engine build? We will be doing another engine build giveaway soon. Might be a Pretentious. I mean, I guess that could be the word. I guess that could be a fitting word. I don't want to say scammy because I do know some of them that are legitimate car giveaways. But it's, not all of them are scammy, but I guess pretentious. Gimmicky. There we go. Matt, are you here at the house? Come say hi to everybody if you're here. If you're upstairs, come down and say hello to everybody. Oversaturated and shit. There we go. See? Like, if I'm giving something away, it's something that, like, I built this for somebody. Like, it's personalized, if that makes sense. Buy a customer short block or a fully built long block from a company. Buy a customer short block or buy a fully built... I don't know if that's a question or a statement. I don't know if that's a question. I don't know if are you asking me? Giveaway partnered with Outfront. I mean, for all, like, the closed... I mean, we do closed deck engine build giveaway, like a big horsepower one. I mean, Outfront's the one who I do all my machining, and then they send everything up, and I do everything else. We all miss Matt. I miss Matt. I never get to hang out with Matt anymore. Thoughts on Audi A5 looking for a new daily? They are pretty comfy dailies. That I would not want to... I mean, it's a Volkswagen pretty much. So, I mean, we all know my trust level with Volkswagens. Non-existent-ish. Doing all right. Back to work since July. 15% perm. Congrats, dude! I'm glad to hear that they at least gave you something. I know that whole situation that you were going on with them was a long, lingering thing, but glad to hear things are starting to go smooth. Hopefully, like, you're back and everything's still going smooth for you, man. Every time I see a car giveaway, I think a cash grab or scam anymore, right? Straight cut gears or sequential. I mean, if you're big baller, you ain't got... You don't care about the cost of it. Go sequential, man. But then again, people are going to give you shit for not having an H pattern. That's the other thing I've seen. If you do sequential, then people are like, oh, it's not an H pattern. It's not an H pattern. Like, who cares? I got a sequential. Like, you think I'll care? I'm going to end up putting a sequential in blue. You think I'll care if people are like, it's not an H pattern car? I don't care. I can just go whap, 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 shift my car. You know how cool that is? And it's like, it's so fast. Whap, whap, whap. It's so much faster, too. So much faster. So, I don't know. If money's not a problem, I say go sequential. Do you think my no rust 82k mile 06 CGM STI is worth? What do I think it's worth? 82. I don't. Is it clean title? Is it stock? Is it modded? How's the exterior look? How's the interior look? There's so many variables that go into trying to, like, price a car. If I had to guess, 82k mileage 06 CGM STI. If that's all I knew and I'm looking to buy one, 14k. I'd say 15k. What's the best first mod to do as a beginner? I have a 2022 WRX. I just did a video on this. I got a video on this. It'll give you a whole bunch of ideas. Good ones are like exterior mods. They're easy to do. You can't really break anything. You get that instant gratification of, like, I just installed this and it looks good. I'm about it. Johnny, whatever transmission is stock. Sequentials are so cool. Who doesn't like a sequential? I mean, I like sequentials. Hard to 1-2-1 in a sequential. See? Hard to 1-2-1 in a sequential. Matt has a point right there. Straight cut gears on blue would be sick. It would be. But see, the way I see it is if I'm doing a transmission build on the STI, which will happen at some point, I eventually want a sequential in the car. So it seems like a waste of money for me to do, like, a dog box or, like, any of that stuff. Why would I waste money to do that? Just go straight to sequential. Buy once, cry once, right? Build a C10. That'd be cool. That'd be kind of cool to do. Have you done Dirtfish Rally? I have not done it, but I have been there. I was there during the summertime. It's very hot, very dusty. Are you going to stick with parent front intercooler intake over Cobb? Honestly, I might change it up again here soon. The parent intake is a little bit loud, in my opinion. A sequential is great for a personal enjoyment car. A dog box is for people who hate money. Gear sets are for people who make big power and don't trust the dog box. That's a point right there. See? I feel like the sequential would just be the most fun. It would be straight to the point, simple. Like Matt said, it's hard to 1-2-1. Don't need a 1-2-1 in a race car. What do you think about plastic gauge? I personally don't use plastic gauge. I would never use plastic gauge in an engine that I'm building for anyone or like myself. Precise measuring tools will always give you an accurate number. They will. That is your number. This is your clearance. You cannot mess it up as long as you are using the gauges and the tools properly. Plastic gauge, I'm personally not. Plastic gauge is great if you don't want to spend the money or you don't have access to the tools needed to properly build an engine for tight tolerances. If you want to do something proper multiple times, you're going to buy the tools. Bore gauge, micrometers, calipers, all these things. Is it expensive? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's expensive for the tools, but like I said, if you're doing it more than once, it's justifiable to buy the tools, like stretch gauges, things like that. Plastic gauge has its place. Personally, I wouldn't use it though. '06 CGM interior 9 out of 10, 9.5 built motor, full bolt-on FP blue. I personally wouldn't touch it. Not saying that there's anything wrong with the car. Personally, I wouldn't put a price on the car. I wouldn't know what to put it at. I wouldn't be looking to buy it. Personally, I stay away from modified Subarus when it comes to me buying stuff. If you're looking, I'd still say 14, 15K if we're being honest. Like if we're being straight up honest, like you're gonna have to find like the right buyer for the car. You might be able to get 17, 18 from the right buyer, but I mean, even I preach it on my channel. I tell you guys not to buy, if you're going out and buying a Subaru, I tell people to not buy modified ones if they're looking for them. So the right buyer, I'd say 17, 18K. If you're looking for someone like quick deal, 14, 15 maybe. Thoughts on the 4B11 engine from the Evo X? I've never dealt with one, so I couldn't tell you. I'm not here nor there about it. I've just never dealt with one. Some of the tools needed to build Subaru engines make my head hurt, no lie. I mean, they're just basic measuring tools. Bore gauges. I mean, I use my bore. All the tools that I use for building Subaru engines are the exact same ones I use for like building my rotary. I used for building my 4G63. They're all the same tools. You have a bore gauge, you have a micrometer, you have calipers. Those 3 gauges alone will get you through pretty much almost any engine build out there. Any plans to start tuning your own car? Yes, sir. So I was just actually talking to Josh about this when we were tuning the other day. I can't necessarily. I want to start learning to tune, and I can tune to an extent. I've done tuning stuff on the RX-7. I've done it to the H6 STI. I can take a car and I can build a base map for it, and I can get a car to run off that base map. The problem lies that I don't fully understand is ignition tuning yet. That's one that I haven't learned. I understand fuel tuning. I understand VE tables. Ignition tuning is still one that kind of melts my brain a little bit. For me, I want to start learning to tune on the 07 STI that we have at the shop, but the problem is I can't do it with Cobb anymore because Cobb pulled all of the Access Tuner software for people to readily download for themselves in their own cars. I have Access Tuner for an 05 STI, but I don't have an 05 STI anymore. So if I want to start learning to tune and it's on an EJ, I have to do it on a standalone, which I don't have a problem with. If I'm going to do it, it's going to be a Haltech. I feel comfortable with Haltech. I understand Haltech. I know where all the tables are in Haltech. I know where all the settings are in Haltech. I like Haltech. So if I am to start tuning, it would be standalone tuning because that's honestly all I really have access to. So we're talking about it. I think when the time comes, we're going to start doing it on that 07 STI. I'm just going to need to put it on standalone to be able to do so. What part of Washington are good to live at? The west side's more expensive than the east side. The west side gets more mild weather than the east side. The west side's way more expensive than the east side, though. So, I mean, there's a lot of places. I would avoid Tacoma. I would avoid Lakewood. I would avoid Everett. There's a lot of places I'd avoid. There's a lot of Washington I'd avoid if I was being honest. Tanner, first rule of tuning, good understanding cam phasing and timing curves and load bell. Great. Oh, yeah. Knock ears. Knock ears is another good one. I'd like to get us at knock ears in the future. That'd be kind of nice if I start tuning. Knock ears are like knock sensors. You bolt them to the engine, but it's like headphones, so you can like audibly hear it. It's kind of cool. I have a question for you. Well, type your question, Tyler. What do you got? What's a good place for JDM parts? 0203 Bug Eyes looking for interior. Yahoo Auctions is a good one. Nugan has a lot of good JDM parts. Top Shelf and Rare JDM parts on Facebook. They have a lot of cool stuff that pops up also. Federal Way. Avoid Federal Way. That's not a one. Avoid Chehalis Centralia. Look at that. Everyone else is giving you guys recommendations on where to not live. Don't live near Oregon if you live in Washington. Move to Idaho, especially if you love 2A. Do you recommend STI lower control arms for an STS swap WRX? 100%. They're cheap. I think you can get a set for like $300. When I had my WRX, I think I got a set for like $300. They're not too bad. What is the best platform to learn to tune on? Probably a Honda. If I had to guess, I'd say Honda. How difficult is the IC7 to hook up to the Elite 2500 after install? You just plug it in via the CAN network. So on Haltech's 1500s, 2500s, those types of ECMs, they've got two bus ports. They have one off of the main harness and one on an auxiliary. For the main harness, you'd probably run like your vehicle can through that, and then the auxiliary one, you'd probably run like your wideband controller, and then you can have your IC7 display plug into the wideband controller through the CAN network, and you can just kind of bridge all these CAN devices together. So all you do is you put the dash in, hook it up through CAN. It'll have a big plug on the back side of it also if you want to run some other wires to it, but for the most part, it's just CAN gateway stuff. Matt, have you purchased Chewy back together? Have you, Matt? Have you? What do I think about flex fuel kits? They're they're great for figuring out your E85 content if you don't want to have to do manual measuring of ethanol before you fill up every single time. If you're getting ethanol from a new location or you don't know what the original content is, awesome alternative. Would you ever do a build like Devin's all-wheel drive Civic? Like, would I build an all? I wouldn't build an all-wheel drive. I'm not a Honda guy. I'm not a big Honda guy. I don't really care for Hondas too much. I mean, I feel like my STI is probably a little bit up there. But I'm just personally, I'm not a big Honda guy. I'm more, if I were to like jump. I've said this in past streams. Like I love Nissans. I'm big Nissan stuff. I'm just starting to like open my eyes to the rotary stuff though. I really love the rotary stuff. I want to do. It would be so not cost effective to do it, but it would just be cool. I would love to do a 2-rotor swap and in a GD chassis. That would be just money. I'd love to do something like that. You buy E85 in bulk. I can get it in barrels. Done it before. It's not a bad option to do. I'm coming from Florida and trying to move up north, but IDK where yet? I was thinking Washington mostly. Hey, we got no emissions here. That's the best part of Washington. No emissions. You can do whatever you want. Can I use my struts in a 6-speed swap if I change the knuckles? Yes, you should be able to. Kurt, now it's still under a tarp. Legacy messed up yesterday as well, so needing to figure that out. Throw them all away. Matt, what if we just combine them into one super Legacy Outback thing? Combine them. Don't do that, actually. I take back what I said. Don't do that. All-wheel drive NSX. The NSXs look good. Personally, I wouldn't want one. 3000 GTs, that'd be a cool one. Saw one down at Forced Induction Motorsports when we were down there. I really want one of those after seeing that thing. What's your opinion on Regamasters on VBs? Regamasters look good on everything, man. In case my username doesn't give it away, used to be a big Honda guy 15 years ago. I'd figured as much. I'm just like, I respect Hondas. They can make a lot of power very cheaply. Some like S2000s, those ones, I think all those look great. The new, I guess not the new, but the prior, the FK8s, those look fantastic as well. I love the cars. I appreciate the cars. I just wouldn't want one, if that makes sense. Like, it's not my cup of tea. The new NSX is all-wheel drive, kind of ish. Tanner didn't answer my question. I didn't see it. I'm sorry, I didn't see it, man. Toss it back in here. Copy paste that thing. The Neon SRT4 is still in the dark. Technically, it is still in the dark. It's dark outside right now. How about Porsche motor in a Subi? Once again, it's just not cost effective. Porsche engines are just insane. They're like, the engine's insane. The parts are insane. Aftermarket part availability, if I have to buy stuff, is probably insane also. Like, from my standpoint, when I do some of these builds, I have to look at like, how much is it going to cost me? With the 6-cylinder swap, it made way more sense to use a Subaru engine than it did a Porsche engine. OEM parts significantly cheaper, availability way better, X, Y, and Z things. Like I'm not. There's just variables, a lot of variables. Hondas are cool, but why haven't they made anything all-wheel drive? Has Honda not made anything all-wheel drive? Yeah, I've seen all-wheel drive Honda systems. Isn't that what people... Aren't those like minivan all-wheel drive systems, though? I don't know. GTR or Supra? GTR, but not like... I do want an R35. That'd be really cool. But like R32 GTR. Like R32s, that's where it's at. I lost that one. I lost it. Your thoughts on ETS front mount intercooler and an FA? I want the Grim Speed, but it's spendy. I mean, either option. They all work well. ETS, Grim Speed, Cobb, all the name brand. You can't go wrong with any of them. They all work and fit pretty well. I'm a Honda guy, actually. Just a fan of their ethos in power production and field engineering that is future leaning for maintenance. That's fair. That's fair. Do you recommend a custom short block or built long block? What are your goals with it? What do you... A long block is just a short block with heads. So it kind of depends on your goals with that one. All-wheel drive Odysseys, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. Thank you. Where's Matt? Matt was in the chat. I don't know if he's still in here. Just realized I've been listening to the stream for like 5 minutes behind. It is a little bit, there's a stream delay. I don't know why. I've tried changing settings in Streamlabs, but it just does that. So, anyways, I have to go run over to the shop to go drop some stuff off, and I gotta go keep working on this 23 WRX for tomorrow's video for you guys. So, I do need to jump off here, but I do appreciate everyone swinging through. You know what? We'll start doing Monday streams. We'll do Monday streams from now on. How about that? I have missed doing the stream stuff. It's fun to be able to kick it with everyone again. So 6 o'clock Monday from now on, I'm going to allocate that time for streams. So we'll start doing weekly streams again. But I got to jet out of here, you guys. I got to go drive to where's the RX-7? The RX-7's at the shop right now, which is where I'm about to go right now. So I got to go finish building this WRX, go to the shop, go do a whole bunch of stuff, edit this video for you guys tomorrow, and then start shooting another video in the morning. So appreciate all the donos. As always, you guys always appreciate the support. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of the week. If I don't somehow talk to you guys in comment section of YouTube videos, which I guarantee you I probably will. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies. Woo! See, and then here's the awkward thing with live streams is now I gotta go in